Micky, looking back on last weekend, and I know it's not a match that you remember with any great fondness, I'm not too sure I ever heard you so angry after a match. And trying to build from something like that afterwards, has it been sort of difficult come Monday, or is it, the players have got to learn and we make sure that the errors that were made in that game aren't made again?
Yeah, you're angry if you lose a game, of course you are, but I wasn't out of control angry. I was very clear in my thinking and wanted to express my emotions that I kept saying disappointed, and sometimes you just think disappointed is not enough. It's just a throwaway comment. But I just feel that the goals that we have been given away haven't been what we're trying to be as a football club, or what we have been. Even since I've come back from Scotland, we've been defensively pretty sound, but we're giving up goals far too easy, which make you so frustrated, because you know what we do in the training pitch, and you know what we speak about, and you know how hard we work in order to defend really well. I'm not just talking about defenders, I'm talking about the whole team. The whole team defends. But to begin away the goals and making it so difficult for ourselves, obviously, I wanted to just express how actually I felt. But believe it or not, I was very controlled about that. I understand what I was saying, but I just wanted to give the right words to show the depth of frustration that I was feeling. But the players know that that's why I'm there. I'm there to keep their standards high. I'm there to show them best practice in order to try and give us a chance of winning games and how to get clean sheets and all of that. That's why I was disappointed. I'm not surprised or anything about people coming to me and saying that they're disappointed in the ways that they want to express their emotions. I'm not. That's just goes with the territory. So I'm not surprised or anything about that. I just focus, and I mean this. I just completely focus on what I can control. And the only thing that I can control, and this isn't a throwaway comment, is trying to get the players to a level of consistency of defending and attacking that gives us a good chance of performing well and scoring goals and winning games of football. And I never really deviate ever away from there. Maybe my moments at home when I'm allowed to be myself, I'm allowed to have that glass of wine and be annoyed or whatever. But no, I'm almost here for the players in the football club and the supporters to try and get the best out of this group that I possibly can. And that's what I'll continue to try and do. And yeah, after the game, I just expressed that. But very quickly, I understand what my role is here, and that's just to try and keep this mate group improving and find consistency, try and win games of football, and if we win enough of them, we will get a shout at success.
Have you had the response that you were looking for from the players since then? Of course,
yeah.
it only really matters, in matches, but you get a feel for things in training as well.
I always do. I'm only telling you now about the way that I manage and the way that I work relationships and with people. I don't follow up with people. I don't allow that to happen. They always know that the reasons why I'm saying what I'm saying to them is because I want them to be good footballers. It's never anything personal. We're only here to try and win games of football and to try and make people better people and all that. Yeah, I get all that. But anything that I say to them is said about what I believe they should have done or can do better in order to be better footballers. And then when I get asked at the end of games, what did you think that they could have did better today in order to give themselves a better chance of winning the game or be better footballers, I will answer that question. That's all I can do. It's always difficult when you're getting interviewed at the end of the game and you're sort of getting asked about what everybody's just seen and you're just repeating that. And then everybody probably wants more. But I see what everybody else sees, and that's what I try and do. And then I try and move on and try and get them to a place where they don't make the same mistakes, or they think clearer, or they think better, in order to try and find that consistency that's needed to try and win games.
It's always darkest before dawn, isn't it? And sometimes
Like that one.
But you have to hit the deck before you can start again and start, looking afresh at things that have gone wrong, accept personal responsibility and collective responsibility. And sometimes they can be really important positions of learning.
Yeah, but you've got to be careful how you put that. I mean, darkest before dawn and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a game of football. It's a game of football on a Saturday that we made a couple of mistakes in. It's not the end of the world, It's, get things into perspective. I've just got to learn. It's a game of football. Try and find a consistency. We know what we want today to try and win. We know that. We know what we need to be good at to try and keep clean sheets. We're at a stage in the season now where the players know that. And if you brought them in and you said, what could I have done better? They'll probably tell you. In fact, they'll tell you exactly what we should have done better. And that's all that I'm trying to do. And I'm smiling because it's not really, it can't be as darkest before dawn and all that kind of stuff, because we've just lost a few moments in a game of football. And yeah, it is serious for us because we do want to win, really, really seriously want to win. But this game is played by human beings and they make mistakes and they think wrong and under pressure and all that kind of stuff. And you've got to think about that. And what you've got to do as the manager is just try to get them to think clearer and perform better, more consistently, and practice that during the week in training and move on Saturday and try and get a result. And that's what we've got to do. And you've got to keep it there. And you obviously know that around about the place, nobody wants to lose. Everybody wants to have a shout and a screamer. That's fine. That's part and parcel of football. And that's what we love about football, is that people are very emotional about it. That's fine. Sometimes it crosses the line and becomes a bit of abuse, and you have to stop that. That can't continue. But generally, that's just what's going on, and you just have to get on with that.
And what can you do to get more goals into the team? Because right now you're struggling at the top end of the pitch.
We have to have better performances in the moments that we either receive the ball. We have to receive it with a better plan. We have to be more clinical about the execution of that plan. So with it being complicated, when we pass it to you in the higher end of the pitch, you have to receive that ball and understand that where we're trying to get it to. And then when you get into the dangerous areas, go and deliver the quality that's needed into the players that are in the 18-yard box. And then the people who are in the 18-yard box get good contact on the ball and go and put it in the net. So that all has to come together. We practice that all the time. We go through that all the time. We work overloads. We then look forward to try and play forward. And the receivers of the ball have to understand the space that they're in, or what the next pass might have to be in order for us to go and try and achieve that. What we can't deal with as coaches and managers is we have to allow that to then go and take care of itself, because I can't go and cross it into the box and I can't go and get in the end of stuff. But I can only just keep encouraging and keep trying to get them practicing the things that will allow us to try and be better at that and more consistent at that. And that's where you score goals. There's no handbrake on people and me telling people not to get forward or not to go and try and pass the ball forward or try and be better with the ball forward or don't get in the box. There's no handbrake on anybody. Everything you see is what the players are giving us. And if it's not enough, then we have to try and get more out of them and more consistently. And that is it. And that's from a manager that's been here a long time. And that's what every manager up in the country will be trying to achieve.
Well, where do you think it's falling down?
Well, we ain't showing enough quality in the areas. It's quite simple. I mean, don't complicate football. We ain't showing enough quality. Be that the ball into there, be that the receiving the ball in there, be that the technique, being that the decision making, being that the timing of the movement, or being that the actual just quality of finishing. All of that. You need to do that better. The best teams do that the best. Simple as that. It is as simple as that. What we've got to do is try and get them better at that. So we've got to get them practicing either as individuals or as a group, which we do all the time. And we have to get them consistently doing that. And then if you do that consistently, you will get the right outcome.
Stevenage, we know about their qualities, even though the recent run, it isn't fantastic. They're in the position that they're in, right near the top of the table in second, because of that quality. And it's It's a tough old test on the road, this one.
They're all tough. And just like you've said, everybody in this division can beat anybody. There isn't really a big gap. The gaps will always come from consistency. But on any given day, anybody in this league can beat anybody. So we'll go into that. We know what Stevenage's strengths are. We've got to try and understand them and accept them and be good at dealing with them. And quite simply, then we've got to stamp our own individual or collective personality without sounding complicated, because football isn't on the game. Accept that and show the right attitude to go and be the best version of us. And then all the words that you hear, like being relentless and keep going and find a way, and you hear the throwaway comments all the time. No, that's what you've actually got to be, and keep believing that you can come out at some stage somewhere and go and score goals and keep clean sheets. We will be attempting to go and do that again.
And you have shown that you can compete with the best this season. Which
is where the frustration comes from. We have executed fantastic performances before, but where they become human beings, unfortunately for me, the manager, is that they are inconsistent. What you've got to do is make sure that inconsistency, the levels aren't at a place where you're losing too many games. The teams that will be at the top are the teams that are the less inconsistent, or when the levels are dropping, they ain't dropping as much as everybody else, and they're still showing the levels of quality that are getting them results. And that's what we've got to try and get to. We can't go from beating Leyton Orient and then making massive errors in the next games and saying that we're ready at the minute to keep knocking performances together. We've got to find the levels of consistency that enable us to try and do that, even when we're not the best version of ourselves. You can't let the levels go from a 9 to a 4. People like measurements, don't they? So there's some numbers. I don't know if it's an exact number, but you've got to be bouncing around about a 7 minimum all the time to be successful at anything. And then going up to 9 and coming back, you've got to be there, and that's what we're trying to get out of this young group. And I'm aware of that, and I'm very level-headed about that. I've just got to keep driving that and focus on that, and that's all I can do as the manager.
But finally, just ask you about injuries. I know we're really struggling numbers-wise last week. Anybody coming back? Anybody has joined that terribly long list?
Well, there's still a lot of them injured. But what I will say is that I said last week, and I'll be consistent about that, it gives people opportunities to come in and play. Everybody that came to Tranmere came to play. The owners found the money for the football club to pay them to play. So when the opportunity comes for them to come and play, then go and play. And if for some reason that you were not able to carry forward performances, and everybody keeps talking about the players that are missing, then the players that have come in must raise their levels in order to continue to move Tranmere forward. So we'll go to that. For me as the manager, that's my job, is to now then make the players that have come into the group to replace your Kieran Morris's, who is a proven League One player, Jordan Turnbull, Kane Hemmings, these types of lads. You've got to then help the group that have come in to try and replace them and find a level that enables us to get results. But yeah, they are undoubtedly important players to us. And when we haven't got them at the minute, the level of performance from the evidence of the last game dropped a little bit. But that's up to the players to come into the team to try and make sure that doesn't happen. And they'll be getting all the encouragement from me to try and make that happen. And I'll help them and hope that happens. And then we'll go down to Stevenage and try and get a result with the best team that we think possible that can get us a result.